So today, we're going to dive into two massive, and I mean massive, opposing forces that are reshaping our world right now. On one side, you have states building these incredible high-tech cages. And on the other, the super wealthy are funding these unbelievably elaborate escape plans. And as you'll see, one of these trends is actually creating the market for the other.
These aren't just thought experiments anymore. They really get to the heart of this new fight for what power and freedom even mean in the 21st century. It's like one movement is trying to lock everything down, while the other is trying to just break away from it all.
And here's the key thing you gotta understand for this whole explainer. These aren't two separate stories, no way. They are deeply, deeply connected. And together, they're creating what we're gonna call the converging squeeze on pretty much everyone else. It's pretty wild. One trend is literally feeding the other.
Okay, so to really get this, we first need to talk about a core idea: choke point control. Governments are quickly figuring out that in our super-connected world, real power comes from controlling the narrow passages. The digital pipelines that carry data or the shipping lanes that carry oil, and then weaponizing that control.
And the prime example of this in action is something intelligence analysts are calling a sovereign digital siege. Now, this isn't just about blocking a couple of websites. It's a really sophisticated, multi-layered system designed for one thing: total information dominance. And right now, Russia is building the most advanced version we've ever seen.
So how in the world does this digital fortress actually work? Well, it's not like a single wall. Think of it more like a series of technological and legal layers, all designed to control, to monitor, and, if they feel it's necessary, to completely shut down their corner of the internet.
Okay, this slide breaks it down perfectly. Let's walk through it. Look at step 1, the TSPU. This is actual hardware that uses something called deep packet inspection to analyze basically everything you do online. Then you have step 2, SORM, which is just a fancy name for the FSB's direct wiretap into all communications. No warrant, no nothing. And then the master stroke is step 3, the whitelist. This means during a shutdown, the internet doesn't just go dark, it morphs into a curated state-approved bubble.
And this table here, it just lays bare what the end game really is: getting rid of private communication entirely. WhatsApp, it's been throttled so much it's basically useless. Telegram's founder, Pavel Durov, is being targeted with criminal charges. And in their place, everyone is being pushed onto Max, a state-run app that we now know actively sniffs out and reports you to the authorities if you're using a VPN.
And this is the final turn of the screw. The state is basically deputizing the private sector. By April 15, 2026, huge Russian companies, we're talking banks, search engines, you name it, are legally required to act as the VPN police. They have to block anyone trying to look over the digital walls, effectively locking citizens out of their own digital lives.
So, faced with this world of growing state control, what's the alternative? Well, for some folks in Silicon Valley, the answer isn't to fight the fortress, it's to escape it completely. And that leads us to this wild idea of seasteading.
This quote, it just gets right to the very heart of the techno-libertarian dream. The Seasteading Institute, which was founded by Patrick Friedman and, yes, PayPal's Peter Thiel, sees government not as a social contract, but as like an outdated operating system, one that's buggy and needs to be disrupted by pure market competition.
And their solution? It's called seasteading. The idea is to build brand new countries on these huge floating platforms out in the high seas. And the whole point is to get away from things like taxes, regulations, and all that messy political friction. You'd have a marketplace of governments where you could literally float your home from one set of rules to another if you didn't like them.
I mean, the sales pitch is incredibly seductive, right? It promises to free us all from politicians, to create a new frontier for innovation, and even, get this, to provide a home for climate refugees. It's sold as this amazing win-win for absolutely everyone. But is it?
So let's peel back the layers on that sales pitch. Because when you look past all the glossy brochures and the big promises, this whole utopian vision starts to look a lot more like a really, really exclusive gated community.
So let's just ask the first big question right out of the gate. Is this really about building new homes for the world's most vulnerable people?
And the answer is just a flat-out no. The costs are absolutely astronomical. These projects are marketed as luxury living for rich investors. There is no serious plan to house climate refugees. It's just a convenient talking point that kind of papers over the harsh economic truth.
Okay, and what about the core promise? The whole reason for doing this? The escape from all government, from all law? Well, the reality is a total contradiction of the pitch. I mean, look at this. Their own surveys showed that residents want stability, not some city that's constantly on the move. Their entire business model depends on signing contracts with host nations for the basics: internet, electricity, you name it. And far from some radical legal innovation, they end up just copying the same old property and commercial laws that their investors demand.
And this dream just crashed and burned in French Polynesia. The flagship project was met with huge local protests. And the people there called it what they saw it as: not liberation, but tech colonialism. And the whole thing got canceled.
So on one hand, we have the state building digital fortresses. On the other, we have capital building floating escape pods. So, what happens when we smash these two stories together?
You see, the real story here isn't just a simple case of control versus escape. It's the powerful new dynamic they create together, a dynamic that really makes you ask a fundamental question: who has to follow the rules and who gets to just buy their way out?
This slide just sums it all up perfectly. They're two sides of the same coin. The state uses tech to enforce control inside its borders, building those digital walls. Capital uses the exact same tech to escape those borders, building luxury lifeboats. The real goal of seasteading isn't some utopia. As one critic bluntly put it, it's to create an aquatic tax lobby to pressure governments into giving them better deals.
And this right here, this is that converging squeeze we talked about at the beginning. You've got this increasingly powerful state squeezing from the top down, while a tiny, mobile elite of money and talent can just opt out and sail away from the bottom.
And that leaves this huge, profound question for the rest of us, for the vast majority of us who don't have a corner office in the fortress or a ticket for the lifeboat. As these two massive forces keep reshaping our world, you have to ask, when they're done, what does the future of society, of citizenship, and of freedom itself even look like?